everyone, my name is Dosblop and today I'll be reviewing Stray, a game that released in 2022 developed by BlueTwelve Studio. Stray is a game that has kind of been at the back of my mind since its reveal back in 2020. Originally revealed for release on the PS5, you play as an orange cat within a semi-futuristic dark world full of robots and weird insects. And as simple as it sounds, the last game I played where you played as an animal was The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Okami, and I hadn't seen much games try to do the same thing since. Finally, I picked it up last week on Steam and finally got to know what this game was about. Firstly, the story, which was something I was most intrigued about, ended up being simple but also somewhat deep and satisfying at the end. Spoilers ahead just in case you haven't played the game, but Stray starts within an overgrown ruins of sorts, with lots of pipage everywhere, and it's just you, an orange cat, plus a few other cats adventuring along it. Eventually, while jumping from one pipe to another, you fall down into a black abyss hitting wall after wall until you finally hit the bottom, which is just full of trash. Of course, you could wonder how the cat didn't die, but these types of things we don't worry about. The story then proceeds to continue within chapters, all taking place in a different area of the game, which consists of 3 main levels. The lowest level, which is where you start, brings you from Dead City, a portion of the level that is devoid of any life besides the weird rat abominations that try to chase and kill you, to the main area called the Safe Zone, which is where most of the robots at the low level live. From there, you can eventually make it to the sewers, which take you to a small village called Ant Village, which brings you to the middle level that consists of Midtown, a large robot colony, and a jail. And lastly, the 3rd level, which is where the control room for the underground city is located. All of these chapters that brings you to these areas are all seamlessly implemented within the journey, and nothing important to complete the game requires you to backtrack. Matter of fact, you can't backtrack until you beat the game, which allows you to go back to play specific chapters to obtain certain collectibles. It was kind of annoying at first until I actually beat the game and found out I could just do that. Going back to the lowest level though, I found out quick that this game requires a lot of stealth movement. Is it really necessary though? Nope, because you can kinda just brute force a lot of the moments that require it. The weird insect bug creatures are called Zerks and they all move in packs and you'll only see them at the lowest level. The game will put you into at least 4 chase sequences with them, and most of them just depend on how you move with the cat. If you move erratically, going in zigs and zags, you most likely won't get caught and killed by them, but if you don't, it'll be a bad day for the cat. I didn't mind these sequences as it added action to a game that is mostly just a puzzle platformer. But most of the fun I had with this game was not really in its action. It was mainly just within exploring the towns and solving things for the robots that live there. You can break things, mess around with the robots' things, you can complete tasks for them and they'll give you story items or badges. It does a good job of making the world feel lived, despite the robotic nature of it all. The game makes it clear that most robots have clear functions like a human would. Even the main robot, which is a drone that you're with up until the final moments of the game, is a transposed human mind inside of a robot. Of course, that could give different implications, like could that mean human minds could just be inserted into a robot mind, or is the robot mind just continuing where the human mind left off of, and the human actually left the world a long time ago? The game deals with ideas of decay and desperation a lot, and for a game where you are just playing as a simple orange cat, it's an interesting setting that at least personally I have not seen many games attempt. Besides everything the game has content-wise, I thought the performance was lackluster to say the least. Even though I don't have the greatest setup for performance ever, I can still run certain games at a good frame rate if I run the games at a lower graphical setting. While this game didn't have constant frame drops for me, sometimes it would just randomly stutter for up to 10 seconds while I'm hardly even doing anything within the world. I've seen people say the same thing, but it's not necessarily the worst thing ever when the game still runs fine in most cases, and I can excuse it considering Stray happened to be their first game. But for future titles by BlueTwelve, I'd hope to see a little more optimization. Lastly, the music in the game is surprisingly really good. It's very reminiscent of soundtracks like Ori and the Blind Forest in a way that it's cinematic and desperate, capturing the emotions of the game perfectly when it needs to. Despite some performance issues, Stray is a great game with a concise story and a good gameplay loop. It's not a long game at all, and if you're looking for a shorter game to break into, I'd recommend this game. Stray gets an 80% on the Smokey scale. Thanks for watching. See ya.